how you can loosen tight low back muscles. It's not exactly as you may think, because low back muscles generally don't get tight because they're tight. They generally get tight because the area is unstable and the body's creating tightness in order to create some degree of stability. So we need to use a slightly different formula than just stretching the lower back. And first of all, we're looking at muscles. So we'll look at muscles of the lower back, and then we're going to look at a couple of the hip. So you can see here we've got multifidus, iliocostalis lumborum, quadratus lumborum, and psoas. Now when it comes to the first three, you've got multifidus that goes directly up along the spine. Then you've got the iliocostalis and quadratus lumborum, which basically go from the pelvis and then up into what will be the lower back and then the mid back, I guess. Next, we're going to quickly look at some hip muscles, and then we're going to get stuck into the formula. The two hip muscles are glute medius, glute minimus. Glute medius and glute minimus, but glute medius is on the top, so you can see the top of the femur here, top of the bone. You've then got glute medius, which comes off and basically goes across the top of the pelvis. This here being the top of the pelvis. So this muscle here, and then underneath that, you've got glute minimus. Again, comes off the top of the femur, but much smaller, sort of halfway up to 3/4 of the way up the pelvis, you will get glute minimus. So these muscles, these 6 muscles that we are going to be talking about, this is how we're going to go about loosening low back muscles. At this point, I should mention, I'm not talking about lower back pain, because lower back pain is different. Although lower back muscles can get tight with lower back pain, there needs to be some steps before we get to all of this to be able to address lower back pain. If you are suffering with lower back pain, you do need help with it, click in the link below and you can go through to my online consultation and coaching, which will tell you those steps before all of this that you'll need to do. So we will sit down and we'll go through your rehab program, what to be able to do to be able to overcome your lower back pain, and then we can talk about loosening any tight muscles off as well. For now though, step 1, first of all, what we want to do is we want to roll. Now, you can use massage, and when it comes to massage, it's more effective then to be able to massage in the lower back area. But where we're going to talk about with the foam rolling is glute medius, glute minimus, which is essentially this diagram here. So what you would do is you would go onto a foam roller and you would go on to this sort of side portion of the hip. I'm a little bit on the back at the moment, but with regards to the glute medius, glute minimus, you would go onto the side of the hip, and then that will start then to relax glute medius, glute minimus. It could well be tender in there, could well be a little bit sensitive, so you need to be mindful of that and manage the amount of pressure that goes onto it. And then we've got the mid back. Now, why I'm saying mid back, because if you can remember back to the last slide, all these muscles started down at the top of the pelvis, which is down here. Now, I don't necessarily recommend rolling all the way down here, because between the ribs and the top of the pelvis is quite a fleshy area. Now, it can be rolled, but you need to manage it well. But with these muscles, because they start here, but all down here is quite tendinous. So there's quite a lot of tendon down there. So rolling a tendon isn't going to be as effective as rolling on a muscle. And the muscles begin sort of where the ribs end. So basically what we want to be doing is from the bottom of the ribs to the middle part of the shoulder blade, you want to be rolling in here, because that's going to get the muscle part or the muscular part of that muscle. So it's not going to be the tendinous part, is more down here, although you can get portions of it. So what that will do, that will first of all just loosen off these muscles here. And what you'll then be able to do is then start to, in some respects, stretch the area above the lower back and below the lower back. And that's what's going to help aid stabilize the area. So this is only step 1, which is foam rolling to loosen off the muscles. What we then need to do is then go through 2 further steps, and the final one is then to stabilize the area. Now we're talking about stretches. So now we're talking about stretching. So we're going to again focus on glute medius, glute minimus. So I've got this raised surface here, and again I'm going to be stretching through here. There are other stretches that can do it, but I'm just giving examples and giving you the process, not the specific ins and outs of how to do it. But we've got glute medius, glute minimus on the side here. So this stretch will stretch this one. Then we've got psoas going up through from sort of the top part of the femur, up through the pelvis into sort of this sort of area where T12 begins. So we're stretching that area. So what we've done so far with the foam rolling and now with the stretching is with the foam rolling, we've made the muscles more pliable. So they're able to stretch and move more effectively. What we then do with the stretching is then get greater length through them. Now, with this process, because the body could have, and I need to emphasize it could have, it may be tight because it's tight, but it may be tight because it needs stability. So when we've lengthened all of the muscles, they've become, or the area has become unstable. So if we don't do the next part, the body will just go back to the way it was because we're not creating stability in the area. We're just loosening it off and making it more unstable. And then what the body will do, it will notice that and it will just create that stiffness and tightness to create that stability again. So what we need to do is what's on the next slide. And in order to stabilize the area, we need to then start using some exercises. So we've got exercise, basically core exercises like the side plank, like the bird dog. So the side plank is going to get QL, it's going to get glute medius, it's going to get the obliques. Then we look at bird dog, that's going to get glute max on this side. It's going to get the spinal erectors on this side. You can get lats involved as well. So when we activate those muscles, what we're doing is stabilizing or starting to create the stability that the body requires. What then will happen is the body will then start, once it's starting to notice that muscles are active, that they're stabilizing the area, it will just naturally loosen off the lower back muscles. But we're combining all those 3 steps to be able to do that. So what we're doing is creating the body's inadvertent stability away. We're taking that away with the foam rolling and the stretching. And then we're building in our own stability by activating the right muscles at the right time so they can stabilize the area but also remain loose. So to quickly summarize what we've talked about, to loosen the tight lower back, what you can do is follow that 3-step process of foam roll, stretch, and then activate the muscles. For the main reason that the body can create tightness because of instability. So what we need to be able to do is create that stability ourselves so the muscles can relax. So it's very important that we do that. And as I mentioned, if you are struggling with lower back pain, which we haven't really addressed in this video, but you do need it addressed before you can get onto this, then just click the link below, enter your details, fill out the questionnaires. We'll get you booked in for your online consultation and the 2 weeks of coaching that follow that. So we'll get you a rehab plan and then we'll get that 2 weeks to get it implemented and get you on the straight and narrow with it so you can overcome lower back pain, get the area nice and stable and have a healthy back and a healthy low back and healthy spine to go with it. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from Chris for Whole Training. I'll speak to you in the next tutorial.